This is my watch list for Monday, April 6th. All right, so new week. Let's get started. SPY 658. All right, this was the highest session from Thursday. It was the highest session from Wednesday. If we get above 658, we have room in a 662. 662, if you guys remember, this was a huge hourly level back here. It is also the daily 200 SMA. Right, this blue line is the daily 200 SMA. It's at 662. It lines with that last level. Remember, macro structure is we are still in a downtrend, so we can look for supply rejections. There is some good news coming out over the weekend, right? Potential ceasefire. However, macros are still bearish. So we need to focus on supply rejections until they don't work, right? If we start reclaiming levels and reclaiming the 200 SMA, then maybe we can start looking for, uptrending trades. But for now, let's focus on our supply rejects. If we get above 658, you can actually look for longs into 662. All right, there is some upside potential if we get above 658. All right, just be aware that that area, it's really a zone, right? Between 661 to 662 is very big supply with that 200-day SMA, and also just these previous levels from back here, right? These hourly demands here, supply rejections here on March 25th, right? It's 661 to 662. Very big supply. I'll be looking for shorts off of that level today. If we get above 658, though, potentially we can look for some scalps, $2, $3 move into that level. All right. So I'll be watching that on SPY. If we start losing levels, right, like if we fail the session low from back here from Wednesday, or this little intraday pivot from Thursday, right, below 652, then I'd be interested in looking for shorts if we get below that 652. But other than that, I would like to see either upside or the supply rejections off the 661, 662 on SPY. All right. QQQ, the level is 592. If you guys remember, this was a huge hourly level from back here. 1, 2, 3. Here's supply rejections, March 25th. All right. 592 is big. And then 595, I have that marked. This was not only the session high from back here, right, from last Monday. This was the session high where we were getting some rejections there. It's also the daily 200 SMA, right? So 592 is the big level, right? You can see this is the structure breakdown when the market actually started selling, when we broke below this choppy range back here from February. All right, so 592 is my big level. I'll look for shorts there, but we can also look for shorts. If 592 breaks, we can look for shorts at the 200-day SMA at 595, okay? All right, so that's my watch on the Qs. Now let's look at some individuals. There's actually some good setups today. So Apple is back above 255. This level is becoming a bit choppy. I'd rather just see this thing break 257 at this point, right? This was the high from last Thursday. This was the high from that Friday, March 13th. This little demand tick here, Tuesday, March 10th. Let's get above 257. If we get above 257, we can look for longs into 260. And I think that'll be a pretty clean move. I don't see it hesitating as much as it did with the 255. All right. It's already broken above that. It just needs to hold it now, break these highs, and we can get that nice $3 move. All right. So Apple above 257. AMD, I'm actually watching this above 220. All right. This was the pivot from back here, Wednesday, March 25th. And if we jump to the daily, you guys will see. Check this out. Let me get rid of VWAP so you can see it clear. Bam. All right. This is a gap fill level, right? AMD 220, reject last week. Bullish engulfing close on Thursday, right? We have a gap from 220 all the way to 235. I've been watching this level now since it gapped down February 4th. So I've been watching this for 2 months, right? So if we get above 220, we get to 235. Potentially, it may not be in one session, but it may be a couple of sessions, right? But there is a lot of upside potential if we take out that level, right? So AMD 220, definitely watching that for upside. Amazon, we talked about this before, right? It's 213. 213, 213, 213, 213, reject. All right, we break above 213, it goes back here to this hourly level at 216, 216, 217, okay? A $3 move, $3 or $4 move on Amazon potential over 213, okay? Google, Meta, Microsoft, not watching anything. Check this out on Netflix though, wow. Netflix, we nailed this trade Friday or whatever, Thursday, right? Above 96. We nailed it last week, Tuesday, above 94. I mean, this was very easy once it started breaking out. and now it's gapping up. They got upgraded by Goldman Sachs. They rose the price target to 120, and now it's gapping actually over 100. Okay. Now I'm not going to trade this at this point. You know, the value was down here. The value was catching this before the 100 breakout. Now that it's above 100, you know, I don't know from here where it goes. Maybe it goes to 102. This area over here. Maybe it goes to 104. You know, I don't want to be the liquidity above 100. Okay, so let's just let this. You know, we're in long-term shares. Let's let them ride out. That's obviously doing well this morning. Okay. Nvidia back in a supply, right? 180 is the big supply. 180 rejects, right? I think 180 is also 200-day. Yep. 180 is a 200-day SMA on Nvidia. There's going to be some chop around this 180. You know, if it reclaims 180, we can potentially look for longs. But, you know, I'd rather maybe sit this one out today and see if we could take it later on this week. All right, I'll be watching it, but 180 has to clear. And it has to clear pretty aggressively for me to be interested in longs, okay? All right, so that's my watch for today. Primarily, we'll be focused on the SPY and QQQ, as well as Apple, AMD, and Amazon, all right? Let's have a good start to the week. Thanks for joining. See you guys in a bit.